So you just asked me, do I know who shot this?
Yeah.
Like the video?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, I know who shot this, and the reason I know is because it's an insane story. Okay, so I was 16, bought a ticket to the Willie Nelson show. I waited outside the arena, waited for the show to start.
Where was this?
This was in Tulsa, where
Okay.
I'm from, the main city and where I grew up. So I drove into Tulsa and waited for the concert to start. And these guys were asking like hundreds of dollars for these tickets, and then 5 minutes after they were like $10. I was like, great, here's $10.
Dope.
So I walk into the show, and I made a sign that said, "It's my dream to play a song with you," out of cardboard I found in a trash can and a marker that I borrowed from the concession stand. And
What made you do that?
So the reason that I did that is because up to this point in my life, right? Like I've been in a band for 5 years at this point, and I tortured myself with the thought. Every concert I went and saw, John Mayer and Zach Brown and Eric Church, and every time I'd go see somebody, I'd be like, that should be me up there. Like, what would I do if I got the chance to get up there? Would I be ready? What song would I sing? How would I handle myself, right? And this night, I walked in, I had the same thought, but something about that night felt different. So I was like, well, shoot, I'll never know if I don't try. I don't know why it feels different, but went up, asked the lady for a marker, found some cardboard, made a sign. And I held it up, and I was not too far away from where he was on the stage. So I held up the sign, and it said, "It's my dream to play a song with you." And he leaned over, he took his red bandana off his head, and he threw it to me. And I caught it, and I put it in my pocket. And I could tell the reason he threw me the bandana was like, hey, glad you're here, kid. Put the sign down.
Settle down.
Yeah. You put your sign down. People paid a lot of money to sit right there, and you're blocking their view.
Yeah.
And so I put the sign back up because I'm a 16-year-old kid that doesn't take no for an answer. And he leans over again, throws me another bandana. Like, for real, dude, you got to put the sign down. So I take that bandana, and I turn around to the guy behind me, and I was like, I'm so sorry, but I have to do this. And I gave him the bandana, and I held the sign back up again. And the third time, he finally leans over the stage, and he goes, all right, kid, what do you want to sing? And I was like, Milk Cow Blues, which is like an old Western swing song. I knew that he knew it. And that was my way of like thinking through that process of he's not going to let me get up there and sing one of his biggest hits because everybody's here to hear him sing his biggest hits.
Good call. Strategic.
But I've seen him cover this song before, and so I know that he knows it, and I know that I know it like the back of my hand because I've been playing it in my band for the last 5 years, and maybe he'll say yes. And so I said, Milk Cow Blues, and he was like, well, kid, get up here. And then, this is – so I tell you all that to say, as soon as I got done, I walked back, sat in my seat, and the guy that I've been blocking his view the whole time taps me on the shoulder, and he goes, does this mean you're going to keep that sign down? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, okay, well, if you keep that sign down, I'll send you the video that I just took of the whole performance. I got it all on camera. This is the only video that exists anywhere. And
That's
it was the guy that
unreal. You were
was
blocking his
pissed off
view.
at me for blocking his view. And I finally didn't put the sign up. And he was like, here's my card. And sent me this video. And so this is the only video that exists, and it's super low quality. Like,
it's incredible. What year
Willie
is this?
Nelson looks like a glowing alien, but this is like 2011.
Like, what is going through your head in this moment?
Man, I'm like, nobody at school on Monday is going to believe this.
Is there any photos or anything?
No. Okay, so there's one photo. You'll see me step away from the mic. After this next verse, I step away from the mic, and I pull my phone out of my pocket. And I try to take a photo because I'm like, nobody's going to believe this.
Yeah.
But I was shaking so bad that the photo's just blurry. Like, you can't even tell who's on the stage. But that's Lucas Nelson. Obviously, that's Willie.
Yeah.
Over here is Mickey. I'm just on stage with a bunch of legends.
Have you spoken to Willie since this?
No.
What would you say?
I mean, thanks for, changing my life. I owe my music career to Willie Nelson because this night I was so close to just throwing in the towel on music. And then this night happened, and less than a year later, I moved to Nashville to pursue songwriting because of this night. So I would just thank him, man. I hope someday I get the chance to cross paths. Right here, this is where I stepped over. I took a photo. I was like, I can't believe what's happening right now, bro.
Aww.
You know?
And how old are you here?
16.
Oh my gosh.
I know. And then here goes
So like,
Mickey.
what is that? Grade 10? Grade 9, 10?
I would have been a sophomore in high school. Yeah, so, yeah, grade 10.
What did your friends and family say when you got home?
Look, there's a photo. I was like, oh, shoot, nobody's going to believe this at school. Because nobody my age is at the Willie Nelson show anyways, you know. So, actually, one of the cool parts about this, and I kind of fast-forwarded through this part of the story for the sake of time, was my grandpa and my uncle were there. My grandpa drove up from small-town Oklahoma 3.5 hours away because he's the biggest Willie Nelson fan ever.
Yeah.
And my uncle got him tickets for his birthday. So they drove up together. They had, like, third-row tickets. And
did you tell them you were going?
Well, they talked me into going.
Okay.
They were like, hey, you should go to the concert. Because you never know the next time you'll get to see Willie. He's getting up there in age, you know. He's a living legend, right? And little did we know, like, 15 years later, he'd still be going strong.
Yeah, he's the best.
But so they were there. But if you know my grandpa, he loves two things, Willie Nelson and Maker's Mark whiskey. And when he goes to a Willie Nelson show.
What did you say there?
So I walked over to Willie. I said, thank you so much. You know, shook all these guys' hands. But I asked him if he could get one more bandana for me for my grandpa.
Yeah.
And he said, yeah, absolutely, no problem. And so I walked off the stage. Somebody from his team came and, you know, gave me a bandana. And I got to give that to my grandpa. But if you know anything about my grandfather, is that when he gets Willie Nelson and Maker's Mark together, it is a time.
Wow.
Right? So, yeah, my uncle and my grandfather were there, and they had a blast. And it's a memory we all have and we'll never forget.
Like, what was their reaction to seeing you on stage? Did they know you were going up?
No, I mean, not really. My uncle.
You weren't sitting together or anything, right?
So the way that it all unfolded is my grandpa was, they had good seats. And my uncle called me. I was up in the nosebleeds where my ticket was. And I had already made my sign, but he was like, hey, I need a break. Like, your grandpa's on the whiskey. And Willie, you know, he's like, I'm going to go get a beer. You come down here.
Thank God Grandpa was on the whiskey.
I know, man. It was great. You know, every song he's just up there with his hands up. You know, it's like he's like at church, you know. It's just like, this is amazing. And, yeah, so my uncle's like, I'm going to go get a beer. I'm going to take a lap. Like, you can take my seat for a couple songs. And so I went down there. And I wasn't – you have to have a wristband to get onto the floor. But I was like, if I just walk down there like I own the place, nobody will say anything. Maybe.
Always works.
So I walked straight down there with my sign. Nobody stopped me, and I went and sat in his seat, and I started holding that sign up. And so it was kind of like the perfect storm of events too, right? Like my ticket was nowhere close. You would have never seen the sign from where I was way up there. But when I got to go switch with my uncle, it all worked out. So.
That is incredible. Thank you so much for that story. And thank you for the time. We went way longer than I thought, but you're great to chat with.
Right on.
Thank you for everything.
Yeah, thank you.